It's 8:25. We have started for we'll wait for another 5 to 7 minutes. While could you please confirm in the chat box able to listen to my voice, whether I'm audible to you? If it is a yes, please write yes chat box. I'm audible. And that's wait for another 5 minutes and then I didn't get your question asking that we have covered so far. Are you asking for the midterm syllabus? All right. I know I have actually uploaded all my lectures, so that could be a little confusing. Well, don't worry. I'll be jotting down the most topics that you need to be able to answer to for exam. I'll give you the list. Be able to manage it quite easy. I'll show you your lectures as well, how to handle them and what to prepare and what not. That we'll talk about that detail, of course. And I would like to do that discussion on campus, but I understand that you need to, prepared for your midterm. So for you, I can let you know roughly 3 to 4 topics that you should start preparing. For example, parts of speech. Extensively talked about parts of speech, able to questions. Apart from that, talked about sentence structure in which we had subject predicate, and then we had types of subjects and predicate. Well, and this topic is very perspective of your term examination. Then we also talked about function words and content words. Then we talked about language skills such as receptive skills and productive skills. And clauses and phrases are there, types and kinds of sentences. So all in all, we have so far only talked about word level, sentence level, and we've practiced only about these. I can write these in the chat box if these are the topics that we have discussed. So, right, parts of speech were there, transition marks were there, function words and content words were there. We talked about clauses and phrases. You were given an assignment on this as well. And of course, for clauses, we also talked about dependent and independent clauses, and then phrases and their types were there. Other than that, we also talked about sentence and the basic structure of a sentence, having subject, predicate, and then we had, types of subjects and predicates. Types of sentences were there, kinds of sentences were there. We had one little activity on public speaking. Other than this, I gave you introduction to four major language skills, if you remember. It was about listening. One second, let me write. Talked about these four language skills, and I also told you that there could be a number of other skills as well, right? But we are going to focus on these four, and yes, vocabulary, because we have been talking about word level a lot. Well, if you have any questions from these topics, please go ahead and ask. Well, it's they're going to start in the eighth week. You need to locate which week is it. Mostly your term is held in eighth week. Let me see. A sheet is also available on your portals. You can check there as well, I believe. I'll be able to see it as an instructor. All right. Your functional English exam is on 14th of November, right? 14th November, date when you're going to have my paper with you, which probably means that your midterm is going to start from 13th November. So you are left with 1 week only. How many questions? Well, questions are irrelevant. You need to focus on how many topics could be there. As you must have seen your outline by now, your outline has three CLOs, that is course learning objectives. So you're going to have 10 marks from CLO 2 and 10 marks from CLO 3. Let me show you, maybe you haven't gone through it. I'll show you your outline. Give me a minute, please. This is your outline. Uh, Are you able to is it visible on your screen? Yes. Please confirm chat box. What about the rest of you? Are you able to listen to me clearly? Because 093 is not able to listen. What about the rest of you? Am I audible to all of you? Could you please confirm in the chat box? Because my internet is working fine at my end. Okay, 110 can clearly listen to me, which means 93, the internet is problematic. Is If it is problematic, then it is at your end. If you're using your mobile phone or mobile internet, I suggest that you go near a window. It will help. Okay, some of you are clear and some of you are not clear. Well, this is going to happen, of course, in an online classes. This keep happening sometimes. So there is a plus point and a catch point over here that you will be given a recording of it. I have posted the recording of previous lecture as well, and you will be able to listen to this recording as well. So you can listen to it later if you're missing out some points, right? Of course, I have to continue, but if you're using your mobile phone for the internet, try a window. Usually it helps. The students have told me if they sit near a window, it becomes much clearer. Otherwise, I'm trying to speak as loudly as I can, and my internet is fine at my end. Anyway, so this is your outline. Could you please confirm whether it is visible on your screens or not? If it is, then I can continue. Yes or no? Can you see the outline? It's visible. Okay. So if you can see,
Yes.
I have mentioned week session, then contents are there, and you can leave the activity part. This can be left out by you. Now look at this. Week one, we talked about these skills. Yes, we talked about these skills for more than 1 week because they were important. So relevant material is uploaded. You can read about them. These two are receptive skills and these two are productive skills. And then we talked about its characteristics and etc. Then the second week was focused on parts of speech. We talked about all these parts of speech generically, but we focused on prepositions and conjunctions. And apart from this, we also talked about um, compound and function words. Let me write that as well. Function words and compound words. Right? And then we talked about sentence structure, in which we talked about subject predicate, and in subject and predicate, we talked about the types. We had different types with us. One was simple, then we had complete and compound. Similarly, we talked about predicate, and in predicate, we had types as well, right? Then we talked about phrases. You were given an assignment based on phrases. And then we talked about clauses, dependent and independent clauses. And then, of course, sentence was there, in which we talked about that a sentence could have a basic structure. Other than that, we talked about types of sentences and kinds of sentences. Till date, we have only talked about this. Other than this, I also talked about one public speaking technique with you. I hope you remember that. Today we'll be talking about this topic again a little in an extensive manner so that you're much clearer about public speaking. You also try to do some public speaking in the class. There was an activity. I hope you remember that. So these are the topics that we have covered so far, and we'll be trying to covering these sentence errors as well, and then the confusing words as well. Don't worry, for the midterm, I'll be excluding one or two topics so that you have more focused learning on certain topics. I'll be doing that in the next class. Whenever we meet, I'll be letting you know that which topics to clearly focus for your midterm so that you're prepared for your midterm. Now, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask those questions. If you're unable to listen to me carefully or clearly, I would highly recommend that you try and rejoin. It helps, right? I'll be taking your attendance at 9 a.m., right? So you should be connected at that time for the first meeting. Any questions? If there are no questions, could you please let me know that there are no questions? Okay, so let's talk about our topic, which is based on public speaking. I'll be sharing some important information with you that how to, utilize your public speaking in public and become a good public speaker, because that is one of the goals of this particular subject that you're studying with me, to make you a good presenter, right? So let me open those slides and then we can talk about it. All right, can you confirm that you can see this slide on public speaking in the chat box or on the mic? Is it visible? Okay, 23 can see it. What about the rest of you, beta? Are you able to see it? 51 can see it as well. Okay, 12 and 43, 97. All right. So I want you to recall the speaking activity that we had in the class, and it is the extension of the same. Today we are going to talk about what is public speaking, what types of public speaking are there, what is required when you're doing speaking in public, and why do you need to learn it, and what is the importance. In the previous activity, which was related to public speaking, what you did was you just came in front of the audience and shared your opinion. You were more concerned about yourself, not about the audience. Today, I want you to focus on how to become audience oriented. It's important to take into consideration the audience first. I know when we are presenting, we think about ourselves that we are being evaluated. So we need to finish it as soon as possible and go from here. That should not be the focus when we are doing public speaking. When we are publicly speaking, our focus is to be able to communicate to the audiences and making sense to them. हमारा मकसद ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि हमें कोई देख रहा है. We need to have clarity in thought that we are publicly speaking, and it is essential for us to convey ideas or influence others. And then, of course, convey those messages with all the confidence in the world, right? So, these are some important points that you need to remember. Okay. Now, public speaking, as we speak, is about when you're speaking in public. Effective public speaking is essential for conveying your ideas when you're trying to influence others and when you're building connections. Of course, you talk to each other on public forums all the way, all the time, on daily basis. You meet each other, you greet each other. That is not public speaking. That's more like a social speaking. Public speaking is when there is a set of people listening to you. It has to be more than, uh, more than 10 people, that becomes a public. Usually, if it's more than 100 people, that would be mass speaking, but public speaking is simply when there is public. For example, if you're part of a speech contest or declamation contest, or you're trying to announce an important announcement in front of an audience, that's going to be public speaking. Now, why is it important to learn about public speaking? Because it helps you, become a good speaker, how to captivate your audience. In order to captivate your audience, you need to engage them. Your point of views, your ideas that you're sharing with them, they need to be persuasive and argumentative. And you need to use those techniques as well. Public speaking is also able to showcase expertise, whatever expertise you have. If you're a good speaker, if you have a content that you need to share, that most of you are from, a computer sciences background that you have told me, and you need to pitch somebody about your software, or you're talking about some important idea that you have and you need funding for it, then of course you need to show those expertise in wording. And that can only happen if you know how to speak in front of an audience, right? And then it opens new opportunities, of course. Now, these are the types. There are other types as well. The other day, when we had on campus activity, I told you about the structured speaking. Then I talked about the spontaneous speaking, and then there was semi-structured, and then there was, planned as well. Now, this type is based on public speaking only, where we are going to focus on when we speak to inform. Sometimes the public speaking is focused on where we need to inform the audiences. For example, in one of your classes, there was an announcement by the seniors about some kind of a party, right? So the party was focused and they were talking to a public. You were a part of a public and they were informing you about the information they wanted to share with you. So the purpose of that public speaking was to inform the audience. The audience was you, of course. Then speaking on special occasions, for example, you must have attended your orientation, your departmental orientation or university orientation. That public speaking was meant for a special occasion where your HOD, your dean, or somebody in charge came on speaker and they talked about your department and how important it is to follow some rules and regulations and etc. So that was speaking on special occasions. Other than this, एक एग्जाम्पल आपके लिए ये हो सकती है कि जब स्कूल कॉलेजेस में कोई स्पीच कॉन्टेस्ट हुआ करता था तो एक चीफ गेस्ट आता था। ठीक है, वो चीफ गेस्ट जो होता था वो जज भी होता था और वो स्पेशल ओकेजन पर आकर दो तीन लाइंस भी बोलता था। दैट इज पब्लिक स्पीकिंग फॉर स्पेशल ओकेजन एज वेल, right? That could be based on some speeches or some celebrations in the college or universities for that matter. Then speaking to persuade. Now, persuasion is important. Persuasion is when you try to convince the other people that they need to take the decision in your favor. For example, the senior students who came to the class in order to inform you about the party, they were trying to persuade you as well by telling you that what will be offered. कि पार्टी में क्या कुछ होगा, आपको क्या कुछ ऑफर किया जाएगा या जो भी ट्रिप था उसमें क्या क्या अवेलेबल है. They were trying to persuade you. So that is speaking for persuasion. Then the next type is speaking in groups. That is also public speaking. If we were on campus, I would have given you an activity that we can do on Friday, of course. I'll be telling you how to conduct this activity, right? Now, let's say that I make a group of 10 people. Now, one of you is required to talk about a certain thing. That would be part of speaking in groups. Now, these types have been taken out from a book. The book, I'll share it with you in your WhatsApp group and on your LMS as well if you want to read about the details, because you will have one question from public speaking in your midterm. So you need to know the types and the basic characteristics, and you should be able to actually describe and define it. So I'll be sharing that book with you so you can prepare it. And I'll tell you what to prepare from that book, right? So, are you clear about these four types of speaking? Do you have any questions or would you like to add anything? Okay, there is a problem at the end of 93. They have shared one screenshot which says the content cannot be displayed. Okay, 93, what I can do beta that I'm going to share this PowerPoint in your WhatsApp. You can open it there. Yes, it happens sometimes for some of the students, it's common. इंटरनेट कनेक्शन इश्यूज होते हैं या तो मेरे एंड पर होते हैं या आपके एंड पे होते हैं तो मैं आपके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में ये सेंड करने लगी हूँ आप अलग से बेटा उसे ओपन करके साथ देख सकते हो सो दैट यू आर नॉट मिसिंग एनीथिंग आउट लेट मी शेयर इट और वो बुक भी मैंने आपके साथ शेयर कर दी है सो दैट अगर आपके पास बुक भी ना ओपन हो तो आप देख सकते हैं A slide and a book has been shared with you. आप चाहें तो आप हमारे साथ इसे ओपन कर सकते हैं. We are on slide number 3, where we are talking about four types of public speaking. One is to speak to inform, the other one is speaking on special occasions, to persuade, and in groups. Now, I have a question. As a teacher, as a lecturer, am I doing public speaking as well? Yes or no? Yes, 93 says yes. Hamna says yes. And can you identify which kind of public speaking am I doing? Am I speaking to inform? Am I speaking on a special occasion? Am I speaking to groups? Or am I speaking to persuade? What kind of a speaker am I? Speaking to inform, 51 says. Okay. Groups, 93 groups. Well, okay. Anybody else writing something? No? Inform, 49 says to inform. And 43 says to groups. For information, says Hamna. Well, basically, I'm talking to an audience. You're an audience and you're public as well, right? It is a special occasion as well because you're not just a random public, you're a class, right? And I'm assigned this class. So it's a special occasion as well. Of course, I'm informing you about different topics and I'm trying to persuade you as well. I'm convincing you that this is the correct way to handle these things and groups be involved here. So I am a public speaker and I'm a public speaker who's utilizing all these types. I'm a spontaneous speaker as well, and I'm a structured speaker as well. So I'm an amalgamation, a mixture of all of these because मेरा मकसद सिर्फ इन्फॉर्म करना नहीं है. मेरा मकसद आपको अंडरस्टैंड करवाना भी है. आपके मुताबिक, आपके लेवल के मुताबिक एग्जाम्पल्स देना भी है. मेरा मकसद ये भी है कि मैं आपको कन्विंस कर सकूं, आपको समझा सकूं कि इस तरह से पब्लिक स्पीकिंग करते हैं. So when a teacher is teaching you or sharing information with you, they are actually informing. The basic, of course, is informing, but they are utilizing other types as well, right? I hope this is making sense. Is it clear so far? Please use your official email address only, Asif. You're using some personal, बेटा आपकी attendance नहीं होगी फिर बाद में problem हो जाएगी. कौन है आसिफ? आसिफ अली. बेटा go use your official email address. 023 बेटा आपका भी ऑफिशियल अगर यूज करें तो बेहतर है, राइट? अभी मैं आपकी अटेंडेंस लूंगी तो फिर आप मुझे बता सकते हैं कि कौन है कौन नहीं, बिकॉज आपके नेम्स तो मुझे शो नहीं होते, आपके रोल नंबर्स शो हो रहे हैं. ओके, सो टाइप्स आर क्लियर टू यू. Then let's talk about how to persuade. Now, why we are talking about persuasive strategies is separately because when you're speaking to an audience or to a public, you need to be able to convince them, motivate them, encourage them to listen to you and act upon what you're trying to say. जैसे मैंने आप लोगों से कहा कि मैं फ्राइडे को I would like to take a class on Friday, but first year CR agreed, and then I believe, um, okay, you're the other class. All right, I arranged it with the other class. उन्होंने ये किया कि उन्होंने simply ये कहा कि सुहेल वाली क्लास है ना, आप भी सेक्शन ए ही है. यस, आपने ही मना किया. आप में से कुछ लोगों ने बताया that there was a problem for Friday prayers, तो वो मैंने 2:30 से बाद में रख दी, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. And then some of you told me that कन्वेंस का इशू है, अरेंजमेंट का इशू है. सो वो भी मैंने आपसे रिक्वेस्ट की कि आप उसे अरेंज करें. और मैंने आपको परसुएड करने के लिए ये कहा कि आई विल बी डिस्कसिंग योर असाइनमेंट्स बिकॉज दे आर बैड. एंड ऑफ कोर्स आपका एक बोनस क्विज जो मैं आपको देने वाली हूँ वो फ्राइडे को ही होगा. अगर आप वो क्विज नहीं देंगे तो आपके जो पहले 2 मार्क्स लगे हुए हैं वही काउंट हो जाएंगे. सो दैट इज माई परसुएसिव स्ट्रैटेजी, which is logical, of course, which has credit, and it calls for action as well. And then, of course, it is also emotionally trying to captivate you as well. ठीक है? तो that is how I have tried to persuade you. आपने मुझे persuade करने की कैसे कोशिश की? Of course इसमें public speaking नहीं है, लेकिन मैं आपको persuasion समझा रही हूँ कि what is persuasion. आपने मुझे persuade convince करने की कोशिश की कि Friday prayers का time होता है तो हम नहीं आ सकते, which is valid, which is counted, very well put, और उसके लिए आपको time दिया जाएगा. दूसरा, of course आप में से बहुत सारे लोगों को convince का definitely issue हो सकता है, I understand, लेकिन उसकी अरेंजमेंट भी हो सकती है, इतना कोई बड़ा बात नहीं. ठीक है? तो इस तरह से आपने मुझे परसुएड करने की कोशिश की और मैंने आपको परसुएड करने की कोशिश की. नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड अनदर थिंग टू दिस persuasion. Whosoever will come on Friday will be given an extra credit in terms of maybe attendance or in terms of perhaps scores. So अगर आप आते हैं, जितने लोग आएंगे उन्हें एक किस्म का एडवांटेज दिया जाएगा, तो आपको आना चाहिए. दैट इज माय persuasive technique. ठीक है? Now going back to the strategies as a public speaker, the persuasive strategies that you need to remember is that first one is logical appeal. Now what is logic? Logic is when you're making sense, you're not being irrational, or you're not being totally robotic और unemotional, और आप बिल्कुल बहुत ही strict हो रहे हैं और बहुत ज्यादा argumentative हो रहे हैं और सिर्फ आप facts and figures की बात कर रहे हैं. Right? So logical appeal is one of those persuasive strategies that you should be able to execute. जैसे जब आपने मुझसे कहा कि नमाज का टाइम है, फ्राइडे प्रेयर्स होते हैं, तो वो एक लॉजिकल अपील है ऑफ कोर्स, और वो आर्गुमेंटेटिव भी है और उसमें सच्चाई भी है, स्टैटिस्टिक्स भी है. सो वो जो आपका व्यू पॉइंट था विच वाज वेल सपोर्टेड बाय द एविडेंस दैट दे ऑफ कोर्स फ्राइडे को फ्राइडे प्रेयर्स होते हैं. सिमिलरली वो जो कन्वेंस का इशू था वो भी वेल सपोर्टेड है, बिकॉज आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट के कभी कभी आप लोगों ने अपनी कोई वैन्स या जो भी अरेंजमेंट कर रखी है, क्योंकि यूजुअली आपकी फ्राइडेज को क्लास नहीं होती, तो आपने उस तरह से उसकी अरेंजमेंट कर रखी होगी, ऐसा डेफिनेटली पॉसिबल है, राइट? तो वो आपने, आपका व्यू पॉइंट ठीक था, तो ये लॉजिकल था। फिर मैंने जो अपना व्यू पॉइंट रखा वो भी लॉजिकल है कि क्लासेस तो आपको लेनी है, दैट इज मैंडेटरी, राइट? तो और आपको वो क्विज भी देना है क्योंकि वो एक बोनस क्विज है, so that is also a logical strategy. So this is how you can use your statistics, your argumentations and evidences in order to logically appeal to your audiences. Second point is emotional appeal. In emotional appeal, you can resonate or you can correlate or sympathize with the stories told by the audiences. For example, I tried to be sympathetic with you guys. आप emotions को evoke करने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं. आप evoke करना ये होता है कि you try to convince them that this is an emotional issue and they need to pay attention to it. For example, when one of your teachers tells you that if you're not coming to the class in time and if you're late for the class, you will be held responsible, या आपकी attendance नहीं लगाई जाएगी, या आपके marks काट लिए जाएंगे, या आपको report कर दिया जाएगा, etc etc, right? That is also emotional, a kind of emotional blackmailing or emotional appealing, जिसमें एज एन ऑडियंस आप में वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, सेंस ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को करने की उजागर करने की कोशिश की जाती है, राइट? देन क्रेडिबिलिटी इज देयर. Now, in order to become an expert public speaker and to be able to persuade the audiences, you need to be credible. And you're only credible when you demonstrate your knowledge with conviction and the sources and resources that you use while speaking in front of the audiences, right? That is very clear. It's important, right? कि आप जो इंफॉर्मेशन यूज कर रहे हो, जो आइडियाज शेयर कर रहे हो, जो सोर्सेज या रिसोर्सेज शेयर कर रहे हो, वो वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड हैं और वो क्रेडिबल हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप हवा में बात करें. जैसे ये जो पावर पॉइंट मैंने बनाई है, दिस इज फ्रॉम ए बुक दैट आई हैव यूटिलाइज्ड. अब मैं अपने से ये पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज नहीं शेयर कर रही, ऑल्दो आई एम गिविंग यू सम एग्जांपल्स फ्रॉम माय ओन साइड एज वेल, but most of the information that I'm sharing with you is from the booklet that I've read. So that is the source, the credible source that I'm utilizing for this particular PowerPoint or topic for that matter. Then we have call for action. Now, as a public speaker, you need to be able to motivate your listeners to take a specific step to change their behavior in their daily life or in their speeches. So these are some persuasive strategies. इसके अलावा भी बहुत सारी strategies हैं जो अगर आप चाहें तो उस बुकलेट में पढ़ सकते हैं. वो बुक भी मैं आपको अभी दिखाऊंगी, how to go about it. आपने इस टॉपिक को वर्ड बाय वर्ड तैयार नहीं करना. व्हाट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड है कि पब्लिक स्पीकिंग क्या है, इसके टाइप्स क्या हैं, और किसी एक टाइप को किस तरह से एक्सप्रेस या एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं. सही है? तो इस तरह से आपने इस टॉपिक को प्रिपेयर करना है. Now, preparation. When you're preparing for your public speaking, these are the points. Now, go ahead, take a look, and tell me if you understand. Right? I'm here, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Preparation के ये 3 steps पढ़ें. उसके बाद raise your hand, and then I'll ask you to speak on the mic, and you can speak on the mic, right? जी बेटा, who would like to share their opinion or understanding for this? कौन बताएगा? Please raise your hand. Compelling is, encouraging. किसी को convince करना, convincing, attractive, captivating. That's compelling. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना that this person has a very compelling talking skills or speaking skills. यानी किसी को मना लेना. That's compelling. Compulsion से निकला है ये word. G, who would like to share? Please raise your hand. Nobody. What about 001? Would you like to share? What do you understand by preparation of the speech or public speech that we are talking about? Hmm? Sharik Mehboob. Would you like to tell, Beta? What does it say on your slide? What do you understand by it? No response. That's great. Well, if you will keep doing this, most of you, I notice, right? You're not participating, you're reluctant to be part of the class discussions on campus, and of course, online as well. Well, it will have some, problematic consequences eventually. Anyway, so in preparation of your public speaking, you need to research and organize your content. That's the most important point of view. You need to be able to, look for the reliable sources. For example, when I was preparing for this presentation, I looked for different booklets or sources where this topic was discussed. And then I looked for the, okay, go ahead, 51, बताएं. Please unmute yourself and बताएं, please.
मैम इन द फर्स्ट वन हम लोग जो है रिसर्च करेंगे इस टॉपिक के बारे में पहले हम उसमें से उसके लिए हम सोर्सेस और जो उसके मैम इंफॉर्मेशन है वो गैदर करेंगे ताकि जो स्पीच की जो पूरी कोई भी
ठीक है, और सेकंड स्टेप क्या होगा?
कोई भी मैम पैराग्राफ है मैम वो कंप्लीट हो जाए फिर उसके लिए मैम उसके जो शुरू में ऑडियंस की अटेंशन लाने के लिए हम उसमें शुरू के जो उसके इंट्रोडक्शन होगी उसको मैम
उसको डेकोरेटिव बनाएंगे या उसको इस तरह से बनाएंगे कि वो कन्विंसिंग हो. दैट्स करेक्ट. और
आखिर में जो है मैम हम लोग एक फ्लो के साथ जो है उसे
ओके
ऑडियंस जो है वो
ओके 51. व्हाट्स योर नेम
से
बेटा? तो आपका नाम क्या है?
अब
ओके, योर वॉइस इज
अबू बकर अख्तर
अबू बकर. ठीक है अबू बकर. Right, so Abu Bakr very clearly understood the purpose of this particular slide that you see. It's clear that you need to research and organize your content. And when you're researching your content, you have to organize or select the content which is appropriate for your audiences. For example, I was telling you when I was looking for this topic, I came across many resources and sources, but I looked for the easiest one and the simplest one because I knew for a fact that most of you are going to read about public speaking for the very first time. So I went for the basic level, right? It is important कि मैं आपको basic level बताऊं. That's why I chose this. Otherwise, complex level, advanced level, वो सारा कुछ available है. So you're going to make your speech or speaking organized in such a manner which is understandable for the audiences. Then, second would be your introduction, your opening should be captivating. It has to be, very attractive so the audiences is hooked, that they are interested. ठीक है. फिर उसके बाद आपने क्या करना है, यू आर गोइंग टू आउटलाइन, यू आर गोइंग टू टेल द ऑडियंसेस कि आपकी पूरी प्रेजेंटेशन में क्या बात होगी. इवन as a public speaker, when you come on the stage, you're supposed to tell them, I'm here to talk about the importance of falana dhimkana, so that your audience is following you. Then when अच्छा, ये 3 स्टेप्स प्रेपरेशन में है, ठीक है. अब डिलीवरेंस की बात आती है. ये आपने याद रखना है कि प्रिपेयरिंग a PowerPoint presentation is different and delivering a PowerPoint presentation is totally different. ठीक है. प्रेपरेशन में आप अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करते हैं. डिलीवरेंस में आपने उस प्रिपरेशन को एग्जीक्यूट करना होता है. आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड द वर्ड एग्जीक्यूट. एग्जीक्यूट इज शोकेस. आपने वो एक्सपर्टीज अपनी showcase या display करनी होती है. So when you're delivering your speech or public speech, you're going to make an eye contact and your body language has to be confident. If you remember in the class on campus when we were having those, uh, you know, um, introductions or the point of views that you were sharing with the class, some of you were very underconfident. आप लोग आवाज क्लियर नहीं कर पा रहे थे या ऑडियंस की तरफ नहीं देख पा रहे थे या सीधा आगे कह रहे थे कि मैं क्या बात करूं, मतलब मैं क्या कह सकता हूँ. बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी प्रॉब्लमैटिक थी, आई कांटेक्ट नहीं बन रहा था, बॉडी जेस्चर्स वर नॉट देयर, कॉन्फिडेंस एंड पोस्चर वाज नॉट देयर. तो डिलीवरी में ये चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. व्हेन यू आर डिलीवरिंग अ स्पीच और यू आर talking publicly, your eye contact and body language has to be very clear. Second, of course, your voice projection and pacing. If you remember, I told you multiple times that you need to be able to utter each word completely. Utterance is speaking the word. अब अगर मैं ऐसे पढ़ती हूँ, maintain eye contact, use gestures and convey confidence through your purpose. There is no intonation, यानी कोई rise and fall नहीं है आवाज में. If there is no rise and fall, then that's problematic because the audiences would not be able to follow it. So it's important that we use those intonations that are required for um, audiences to comprehend our speaking. For example, मैं थोड़ा सा तेज बोलती हूँ, but most of the times, the moment I realize that I need to slow down, I slow down. I focus on my voice, I focus on the words, and I pronounce them and complete them properly so that all kinds of the audiences that is listening to me is able to understand it and they can be engaged or stay interested. अगर मैं बहुत तेज बोलूंगी, अगर मेरी स्पेस जो है, मेरी स्पीड बहुत ज्यादा है और मेरी आवाज बहुत कम है, तो ऑब्वियसली ऑडियंस नहीं सुन पाएगी और समझ भी नहीं पाएगी. बिकॉज सुनना और समझना एक दूसरे से डेफिनेटली कनेक्टेड है, राइट. सो इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी ट्राई एंड मैनेज द पेस. ठीक है. Then the third point, which is important, is connecting with the audiences. You need to show genuine interest. Yes, you have to learn speaking skill. It is basically based in speaking skill. 59 ने question पूछा है that do we need to learn a skill? Of course, beta, this is part of a skill. आपको शुरुआत में याद होगा, there are 4 skills that I shared with you: listening, speaking, writing, and reading, right? Now, this one is, of course, based on रीडिंग एंड लिसनिंग. आप मुझे सुन भी रहे हैं, आप इसके बारे में पढ़ भी रहे हैं, और इवेंचुअली आप इसके बारे में बोल भी रहे हैं. आपके क्लासमेट ने भी कंट्रीब्यूट भी किया है. ठीक है. सो all your skills, all these four skills are being used right now, as per we say. Similarly, if you're publicly speaking, all the skills are interconnected, intermingled, or all the skills are, you know, interdependent on each other. एक skill दूसरे skill से definitely in one way or another, definitely वो connected है. Then connecting with the audience, right? No, you need to be able to show genuine interest and you need to tell them that you're there in order to present a topic. अब अगर मैं आऊं, मैं सिंपली स्लाइड रीड करूं या कहीं से आपको कोई टॉपिक दूं, एक चैप्टर दूं और आपसे कहूं कि आप पढ़ लें और अगर कोई सवाल है तो मुझसे पूछ लें. ठीक है. तो वो जेन्युइन इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. जेन्युइन इंटरेस्ट ये होगा कि पहले मैं आपसे कुछ ना कुछ शेयर करूं, आई टेल यू अबाउट इट, and then you ask me questions or you produce about it. You actually tell me a story instead. You share something with me. That is the proper way, right? So as a presenter, आप पहले कोई ना कोई क्वेश्चन पोस्ट करेंगे या कोई इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करेंगे, उसके बाद ही ऑडियंस आपको जवाब देगी. क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन भी होते हैं जिसके बारे में आपको मैं बताऊंगी, लेकिन on your level it's mostly presentation only and public speaking only. Okay, do you have any questions from deliverance? How to deliver a public speech? कोई question हो तो बताएं please. You have 3 minutes to go through it and then we'll be moving forward. If it is clear, write clear in the chat box. Okay, most of you said Claire, and Hamna has asked, ma'am, who we engaged with people? Could you please rephrase your question or elaborate on your question or come on mic, please? Ask your question on the mic, Hamna. Please unmute yourself and ask it. Ji, now you there, beta? Okay, Hamna, I have left a message for you in the chat box. How we, okay. So your question is how we what? Ma'am, how we engaged with peoples. Okay, so your question is how would you engage the audiences with your topic? First of all, of course, the most easiest way is to pose a question. जिसमें आप पूछ सकते हैं. For example, if you're talking about, uh, let's say your topic is about unemployment, ठीक है? आप unemployment के बारे में बात कर रहे हो अपनी audiences से. तो आप उनसे पूछ सकते हैं कि how many of you are unemployed or how many of you have ever faced unemployment and has it ever had a very serious consequences on your health. This way You're not only being logical, but you're emotionally appealing to them as well. Because the topic is it's a hot topic. When I say hot topic, I mean to say that it's a very reoccurrent और बार बार इसके बारे में बात की जाती है. अगर स्टूडेंट लेवल की बात करें तो स्कॉलरशिप्स की बात कर लेते हैं. आप में से बहुत सारे लोग स्कॉलरशिप्स में पढ़ भी रहे हैं और स्कॉलरशिप्स के लिए अप्लाई भी करते हैं, राइट? तो अगर मैं आपको स्कॉलरशिप्स के बारे पे एक स्पीच दे रही हूँ या इंफॉर्मेशन आपसे शेयर कर रही हूँ, तो आई कैन आस्क you guys that has any one of you have got any scholarships in the previous school or university or ever, so then they can share their experiences with me. इस तरह से आप बातों से बात निकलेगी, क्वेश्चन से क्वेश्चन निकलेगा और आप अपनी ऑडियंस को अपने साथ engage कर सकते हैं. This is how you engage your audience with you. क्वेश्चन पूछ के या ओपिनियन पूछ के आप कोई ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं. व्हाट डू यू थिंक, इज इट करेक्ट, वुड यू अग्री, एक्सेट्रा एंड एक्सेट्रा. उसके अलावा आप किसी किस्म की एक्टिविटी करवा सकते हैं. एक्टिविटी पेपर बेस्ड हो सकती है, स्पीच बेस्ड हो सकती है. एक्टिविटी जो है वो काइनेस्थेटिक भी हो सकती है, जिसमें जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं दे हैव टू डू समथिंग by moving their chair or going from one chair to another, etc., etc. So this is how you engage your audiences with yourself. अब अगर हम on campus होते तो I would have given you one engaging activity. Please remind me in the next class. तो मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि वो कैसे engage कर सकते हैं उस वक्त. Then and there तो वो activity मैं आपको करके बताऊंगी. I hope I've answered your question, Hamna. Is it clear? All right. Now, overcoming nerves. Now, nerves over here simply means nervousness. If I talk about myself, of course, I get nervous every now and then. Not in front of the students, perhaps, that's not the case anymore, but mostly if I'm presenting in front of a committee or HR committee or my PhD supervisors or evaluators. So it's very common to feel anxious or uh, feeling a little less confident or feeling some kind of, you know, mindfulness or, some problems could be there. That's natural. हम सबके साथ कहीं ना किसी लेवल पे ये प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं कहना चाहिए, लेकिन ये सिचुएशन आती ही आती है. So it's important to control your nervousness. Sometimes you won't be able to actually control it, but you will be able to actually contain it. That means कि at least दूसरे को पता नहीं चलेगा that you're nervous. Now there are many techniques to manage nervousness. First is we are going to focus on anxiety. Now, who can define what is anxiety? Anxiety क्या होता है? बता सकते हैं?
एंजाइटी, घबराहट, डर, गलत
Absolutely.
ना बोलने।
गलत ना बोल देना, लोग जज ना कर ले, घबराहट. Sometimes it so happens that we can feel our heart coming out of our mouth because heartbeat इतनी तेज हो जाती है. That's correct. Very well correct. So that's anxiety. That's feeling anxious. और उसमें आपकी breathing problems भी आ सकती हैं. जैसे the other day, last week, I was conducting some presentations in International Islamic University. So one of the students, when she was presenting, she was taking deep breaths because she was definitely scared perhaps. तो वो बहुत तेज सांस ले रही थी, काफी डीप ब्रेथ्स ले रही थी, और जब वो ब्रेथ्स ले रही थी तो वो हमें सुनाई दे रहा था. Yes, that's not a disorder, but panic attack हो सकता है. Disorder is a little different, it's more severe हमना, लेकिन panic attack definitely हो सकता है, जिसमें आपको पसीना आ सकता है, जिसमें आपको आपकी आवाज गायब हो सकती है, ऐसा भी हो सकता है आवाज निकले ही नहीं.
फिर काम जाना।
और आवाज जो है वो शेकी भी हो सकती है. शेकी मीन्स के आपकी आवाज जो है उसमें एक लड़खड़ाहट सी आ जाए, हमें पता चले कि आप घबरा गए हैं. Like 93 says that worry and fear about future events or situations. That's correct. Shiver karna 28. That's correct, beta. So these could be the problems. I would like to show you a video. Let me see if I can find one जिसमें ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं. Here it is, जो यूजुअली मैं क्लासेस में प्ले भी करती हूँ. 1 second please. Okay, I'm going to share this, 6 behavioral tips with you that can help you overcome your anxiety while you're presenting in the, uh, you know, public. It will help you understand कि आप अपने आप को कैसे together रख सकते हैं. For those people who are unable to see on their screens due to many factors, but I'm sharing the link in the group as well, your WhatsApp group. आप वहां से ओपन कर सकते हैं. The rest of you, अगर आप WhatsApp नहीं ओपन करना चाहते तो बेटा चैट बॉक्स में से आप लिंक ले सकते हैं. Let me play this. Okay, could you please confirm that you're able to see the video?
I'm going to give you 6
and you're able to hear it as well.
behavioral tips to help you overcome your
Please confirm करें chat box में कि आपको visible है और audible भी है. All right. So it's a video of 6 to 7 minutes. I'll be stopping where I would feel that we need to stop. Let's take a look. These are 6 tips that he's sharing, and they are, of course, he's a coach. He's a communication coach, and he's an expert in it. So the way he's going to describe it is going to be more effective if I do it. So, और अच्छा होता है कि बोलते बोलते थोड़ा सा change भी हो. So let's watch it together.
public speaking. I'm going to give you 6 behavioral tips to help you overcome your public speaking anxiety. So let's do it. You might remember that in a recent video, we talked about 6 mindset tips to help you with your public speaking anxiety. If you missed that one, I will put a link to that in the description below this video. And just like that one, we are aiming to reduce your anxiety by about 50%. Now, we're not trying to 100% cure it. That's not realistic. Even professional speakers get a little nervous. But we can talk about ways to cut it in half by the end of the video. So like I said in the last video, working on our mindset is powerful, but it's only half of the story. We can also use behavioral strategies to reduce our nervousness and get this feedback loop moving in the right direction. So these 6 behavior changes can very quickly transform the way you feel about public speaking. The number one way is to practice like crazy. Practicing is not a quick fix, but it's the best way to feel better. Dale Carnegie once said that only the prepared speaker deserves to be confident. I recommend practicing a presentation 10 times behind the scenes, spread out over a few days beforehand to really let it sink in. Even if you still feel those butterflies, you can be confident that you are prepared. Trust in your preparation process. If you've already gone through the presentation 10 times in practice, now you're just going to do that presentation the 11th time. And as I've often said, 95% of how a presentation comes out is determined by how you practice. So even if you're still nervous, that won't stop you as a prepared speaker from doing a strong presentation. So practice like crazy and trust that process. Number 2, as you prepare, focus on your message and your audience. The 3 parts of a public speaking situation are the speaker, audience, and message. Speakers who get the most nervous focus on themselves. What if I mess up? What if they don't like me? And when we focus on ourselves and being perfect, we can psych ourselves out. I would say that perfectionism and that threat of feeling judged are the 2 biggest problems that we focus on and that we're thinking about ourselves in most of that. Instead, as you prepare and as you speak, focus all your effort on your message and your audience. How can you best help your listeners? Focus on how to sharpen your message, the examples, the stories, so the message is the best it can be. And this is what great coaches and teachers do. If they share an example that doesn't go that well, they don't take it personally. They don't focus on them. They just move on and look for another example that will resonate with listeners. So focus on your message and helping your listeners before and during your presentation, not on yourself. Number 3, visualize the first 30 seconds as all positive. This will help you reduce that spike of nerves you feel at the beginning. I make this visualization really hands-on. As I practice, I imagine myself walking up to the front, being introduced by the person running the event, and I picture myself speaking the first few sentences effectively. I picture people sitting there, looking happy. I picture it playing out in a positive way over and over again. This helps me feel good about the beginning, but it also helps me start on the right foot because visualizing is another way to rehearse. Number 4, and I love this one, get there early and walk the room. I always arrive early and walk around the room before it's full. I walk up and down every aisle. I look at the stage or the podium from the empty seats. Then I stand in the front of the room or at the podium and I size up the room. This makes the whole event seem smaller somehow and more manageable. I've heard that many professional athletes walk through the seats in the stadium when it's still empty before a big game. This will make the space feel like familiar territory. I spend a few moments at the podium or on the stage, and again, I imagine or quietly rehearse how the first few sentences will come out of my mouth and where I'll stand. This one tip, walking the room like this, takes only about 2 minutes and always calms my nerves by at least 50%. Number 5, get to know your audience beforehand. Learn everything you can about your actual audience, the real people who are going to be there. Reducing our uncertainty reduces our anxiety. And if I have a list of attendees ahead of time, I learn as many names as I can. I also mingle before any presentation. I shake some hands, I break the ice and make small talk about their backgrounds. I take a genuine interest in the people. This helps me feel like I already have some people I know and who are on my side. It also gives me something to do right before I speak. It's a helpful distraction. If I'm focused on getting to know other people, I'm not thinking about myself. And number 6, take deep breaths in and out through your nose. And I don't mean metaphorically. I mean, while you're sitting there waiting to be introduced, inhale deeply through your nose and exhale all the way through your nose. And you can try with me right now. I'm not a physician, but I've both heard and experienced these benefits. Slow, deep breathing like this lowers our heart rate, blood pressure, and tells our brains to relax. From what I understand and from personal experience, when we breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, that can actually get our adrenaline pumping even more and can increase our nerves. That's the way MMA fighters and other athletes get fired up. But breathing in through our nose this way and out through our nose is the way we breathe when we sleep deeply and when we naturally relax. So I'll put a summary of all these tips up in a moment, but before I do, I want to remind you that you can find a free PDF download for these 6 tips to be more confident and composed public speakers. I'll put that in the description below. And there are also direct links to my other online classes and the video I mentioned about the 6 mindset tips to reduce your anxiety. And as we look at these 6 behavioral tips, my question for the day for you is, which one of these do you believe will help you make the most immediate progress?
So I hope it's clear. I have shared the link as well, but if you're finding it difficult to listen over here because there is a problem, that's all right. You can go and look for this on this link that I've shared. जी बेटा, somebody raised their hand. Go ahead. कोई question है तो बताएं. Okay, so the 7 tips that this particular, okay, 25 beta, what's the question, पूछिए? 025. आई थिंक एक्सीडेंटली उन्होंने हैंड रेस कर लिया है. Okay, that's all right. Now going back to the discussion, how many of you did understand what the coach Alex was trying to say? Was it clear? अगर कोई communication error था, internet का error था, उसे रहने दे. उसके अलावा anxiety को overcome करने के उन्होंने जो 6 behavioral tips दिए हैं, वही हम तब से बात कर रहे हैं कि audience oriented होना चाहिए. ठीक है, आपको अपने पे focus नहीं करना, audience पे focus करना है. Of course, you need to practice like crazy, right? And visualize yourself and be positive about yourself. Go to the place. आपको याद होगा कि मैंने आपसे कहा था कि अगर आपको स्टेज पे आते हुए या ऑडियंस के सामने आते हुए या बोर्ड के पास आते हुए प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो जब क्लास में कोई ना हो तो आप बोर्ड के पास आकर देखा करें. ठीक है. Fifth point is important. Get to know your audience beforehand. That's also helpful. And of course, you can take deep breaths before you start your presentation or your speech. So these are 6 practical behavioral tips that can help you overcome all those problems that you might face while speaking publicly. Now, if you have any questions regarding, these, please go ahead and ask. You have 2 minutes. देख लें एक नजर दोबारा से बेशक, और कोई क्वेश्चन है तो पूछें. जी बेटा, देख लें 7 minutes हैं टोटल, तो आप देख सकते हैं, देख लें. ओके, लेट्स टेक अ ब्रेक. ऑफ कोर्स आपकी क्लास में 10 से 15 minutes का ब्रेक भी होना चाहिए. आफ्टर 10 minutes we'll take the break because your class ends at 10. तो उसके बाद हम 10-15 मिनट की ब्रेक लेंगे और फिर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे चलेंगे. ठीक है. सो मैं आपकी अटेंडेंस ले लेती हूँ तब तक. I can see 36 participants right now. जी, any questions? कोई सवाल है तो बताएं. जब आपको ब्रेक दी जाएगी बेटा, तब आप ये वीडियो देख लीजिएगा बेशक. No questions, all clear. What about the rest of you? Is it clear? If it is clear, better write clear in the chat box. All right, so let's move to the next point. So first point was to fight with the anxiety that you face while speaking publicly. Second is visualization and, of course, deep breath exercises, which is the part of those behavioral tips that we have just watched. And then practicing and practicing and practicing and gaining confidence. Practice, practice, and practice. It's important. The more you practice, the more there are chances that you will commit less mistakes. But practice इस तरह की होनी चाहिए कि वो robotic या unnatural sound ना करे. ठीक है, रट्टा मारना is not practice. Practice is understanding the topic clearly, comprehending it, and then being very clear about it, and then executing it or delivering it. ठीक है, engaging the audience. अच्छा, आप में से अभी किसी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा भी था कि how to engage the audience, तो वो points यहाँ पर लिखे हुए वो ये हैं कि you can ask them politely about their experiences, right? You can also talk about how they felt or what they feel. You can tell a story as well. You mostly have gone through these exercises in your classes as well. When a teacher wants to tell you about a certain phenomena, तो वो आपसे अपने personal experiences भी share कर लेते हैं. कोई narrative सुना देते हैं, कोई emotional message share कर लेते हैं. एवी एड्स यूज करते हैं जिन्हें विजुअल एड्स कहते हैं जिसमें कोई साउंड यूज हो जाए कोई पिक्चर यूज हो जाए कोई वीडियो जैसे मैंने अभी यूज की दिस इज एन विजुअल एड so that is good for engagement. See, I did see some engagement. Some of you were very much interested in watching that video as well. तो वो engaging the audience में आ जाएगा. And then, of course, you need to encourage the audiences to participate through interactive activities and questions, etc. इसके अलावा भी बहुत सारी टेक्निक्स हैं लेकिन अगर आपको ये तीन पता हो तो दैट्स ऑल राइट ठीक है ओके एनी क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम दिस if you have any questions please go ahead and ask no questions everything is clear to you all right now these are some barriers to effective public speakings barriers क्या होते हैं barriers are the hindrances or the problems that you might face while publicly speaking और उसके बारे में हम बात करते हुए आ रहे हैं of course nervousness lack of practice or inability to engage the audience, maybe some kind of distraction or time constraints, or if a presenter is not clear about the message, and of course, technical difficulties, maybe आपको multimedia या चीजें use करनी नहीं आ रही तो communication जो है वो effective नहीं हो रहा है. So these are some barriers that could be there. Overcoming those barriers, of course, वो अभी हमने जो वीडियो देखी है उधर भी यही पॉइंट्स है और यहाँ भी यही पॉइंट्स है. देखिए, take a look at the points. If you need any clarification, please go ahead and ask. और एक और बात कि सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज नर्वसनेस को कम करने की यही है कि पहले आपको एक्सेप्ट करना है कि आप नर्वस है। मुझे याद है आप में से कुछ बच्चे जो थे वो कह तो रहे थे कि दे आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट दे कैन स्पीक वेल, बट when they came for speaking they were not that much confident or they were not clear. So first step is acceptance that you have stage fright, that you are nervous when you're on the stage. जब तक acceptance नहीं आएगी तब तक execution बेहतर नहीं हो, right? So सबसे पहले तो acceptance आनी चाहिए. No questions? Everything is clear? All right, so that's all about public speaking that I wanted to share with you. Now, I would like to show you the book that I have utilized in order to make this PowerPoint presentation. Now, let me see this. Okay, this is the book that I've been referring to time and again, right? I have shared it with you. It is called Public Speaking for College and Career. It's written by Hamilton Gregory, and it's the 11th edition, right? Now, there are certain contents given over here. The presentation that I have made is part of all of these points that you can see on your screen right now. First of all, we have Introduction to Public Speaking. This is chapter 1. You have to read about it. And then we have chapter 2, Managing Nervousness. I've told you generically about it. What you need is you need to go through these chapters yourself. If you can't read the entire chapters, that's all right. Just focus on the headings in the PowerPoint that I've made and just focus on those materials only. Then I've also told you about how to reach out to the audiences and how to be able to engage your audiences and managing your focus. Then, of course, we talked about presentation aids and how to support our ideas. And then, of course, the information that we need to share. I told you that our resources and sources have to be very much reliable and authentic. Then we talked about types of speaking. We will come to speech, but later on. I have told you something about it, but we will take speech as a different topic, as a separate topic, right? Then we talked about types of speaking, speaking to inform, to persuade, to strategize, and of course, special occasions and groups. So these are the types. And you don't need to go through the entire chapters, right? Just go through the introduction that when we speak in order to inform what happens and etc. and etc. Then you have chapter-wise divisions. You can read about those. For example, if you talk about types of one second, types of public speaking, then you will be able to see that how they have talked about how to look at how we can inform different people by different definitions, definition of speech, description of speech, explanation and process. And then there are some guidelines for informative speaking. Now, if we look at these guidelines, these are the same. Relate the speech to the listener's self-interest. You must have observed that whenever I'm sharing an example with you, if I find that the audience is not able to understand the um, you know, example that I've brought in, then I try to relate it to yourself. I try to come to your level, then make information interesting, right? This is the most important point. And these are the tips for the career that you can read. Avoid information load or overload. Information overload simply means that if your audience is unable to grasp the basics of any topic, you should not move forward to the advanced level. जैसे आपको याद होगा कि जब हम conjunctions की बात कर रहे थे, when I got to know that you're not very much clear about the basic conjunctions, I did not move forward to the complex level. I simply stayed to the simplest version of conjunctions. Similarly, जब मैं आपके साथ subject predicate की exercises कर रही थी, so जब मुझे पता चला कि आप simple और complete predicate को easily identify कर रहे हैं, only then I moved forward to compound subject and predicate. So that मैंने एक error analysis किया, एक need analysis किया कि बच्चा इसको handle कर सकता है कि नहीं, और उसके मुताबिक मैंने अपनी audience के लिए information load की. That is how you need to avoid information overload according to your audiences. Tailor information for each audience, right? हर किस्म की ऑडियंस के लिए यू आर गोइंग टू टेलर इन्फॉर्मेशन अकॉर्डिंगली. जैसे मैंने आपके लिए जो इन्फॉर्मेशन एक पावर पॉइंट स्लाइड में शेयर की है, दैट्स मोर देन सफिशिएंट. It's just that you need to write those points in descriptive manner and not in bullet points. Use the familiar to explain the unfamiliar. कोई unfamiliar concept है तो आपने familiar concept इसके साथ use करना है so that people can understand. Help listeners remember key information. राइट. रिपीट सर्टेन आइडियाज टाइम एंड अगेन. जैसे मैं बार बार रेफर कर रही हूँ पुरानी प्रेजेंटेशन या पुरानी एक्सरसाइज जो हमने स्पीकिंग विद पर्पस की थी, सो दैट यू कैन recall those things, revisit those things. Then you can use the memory aids and presentation aids as well. तो इस तरह से आप यहाँ पर तैयारी कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पर एक सिंपल इंफॉर्मेटिव स्पीच दी हुई है, वो आप खुद देख सकते हैं. अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं, ठीक है. तो इस बुकलेट को आपने इस तरह से पढ़ना है. आपके 3-4 और टॉपिक है जो इसी बुकलेट से हैं, जो मैंने आज आपको बता दिए, लेकिन मैं आपको उनके बारे में आफ्टर द ब्रेक और क्लैरिटी से बताना चाहूंगी सो दैट यू आर क्लियर अबाउट दोस. ठीक है. अब आपकी एक ब्रेक ले लेते हैं क्योंकि 10 बज गए हैं. एंड ऑफ कोर्स इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड होने का खतरा अब हम पे लाहक है, बिकॉज काफी देर हो गई है कि मैं आपसे ये इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर रही हूँ. So you have a break for 15 minutes. You need to stay connected, of course, but you can have a glass of water or your breakfast, or you can go roam around and come back after 15 minutes. All right. You can simply leave an okay in the chat box so that I know that the message has been conveyed to you. Right. See you in 15 minutes, beta. Okay, everyone. Now it's more than 15 minutes. We shall start. And some of you have asked about the in attendance in the chat box. Yes, first class की attendance हो गई है. Second class की attendance after 1 hour हो जाएगी, ठीक है? तो stay connected बेटा. पहले half की attendance हो चुकी है, जो मैंने आपके पोर्टल पे भी अपलोड कर दी है. Now let's talk about another topic. लेकिन before we start that, if you have any questions regarding, you know, public speaking, please go ahead and ask. पूछ लें. कोई सवाल हो तो बेटा पूछे. If there is no question, please write clear in the chat box so that I can move forward. कि आपके पास कोई सवाल नहीं है. क्या नाम है बेटा आपका? 010. बताएं, नाम बताओ बेटा. क्यों नहीं हुई? मैंने अभी आपकी अटेंडेंस लगाई है. अहमद शेख. लगाई है बेटा, आपको देखनी नहीं आती? लग गई है, आपकी अटेंडेंस लग गई. Hmm. Okay, now moving forward to the next topic, which is also important, which is a major part of your end term examination as well. That is error correction, right? There are certain word pairs that we use interchangeably, sometimes correctly and sometimes incorrectly. So this is that list. If you have any questions related to this particular part, then of course इन्हीं से आएगी. ठीक है, इन इसी लिस्ट से आएगा, इस लिस्ट से बाहर नहीं आएगा. एक लिस्ट आपसे शेयर कर दी जाएगी और उसी में से आएगा, तो आपने उसी को प्रिपेयर करना है. ठीक है. So avoid confusing words or pair of words, right? Certain words, they have same spellings, they have same sounds as well. They are called homophones. Do you know homophones? क्या होते हैं? Any idea? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right. If you don't know the simple concept of homophones, let's take a look at a primary level video. It will make it very clear for you. Homophones or homographs are simply those words who rhyme together, who have sometimes the same spellings as well and same sound. For example, you probably know this one, here versus here. अब ये दोनों वर्ड्स एक ही तरह से प्रोनाउंस होते हैं, इनका साउंड सेम आता है, लेकिन इनके मीनिंग में डिफरेंस है. Let me show you a little explanatory video for this so that you are able to, understand homophones. Wait, please. All right, ये है. Okay, I'm sharing this link in the chat box as well. आप बाद में भी देख सकते हैं या अगर आप फोन पे खुद से खोलना चाहें तो खोल सकते हैं अगर आपको स्क्रीन पे नजर नहीं आ रहा. द रेस्ट ऑफ यू जिनको नजर आ रहा है सुनाई दे रहा है पे अटेंशन प्लीज.
Look at Nikki and Ricky holding some words. I hear, I hear. What's special about the words they are holding? In the words held by Nikki and Ricky, I and here and here sound the same. Many words in English sound the same.
Homophones are words with different spellings but with the same sound. They also have different meanings.
Okay, now I hope the point is clear that they could have, many words in English sound the same and different spellings are there, but they have the same sound. Now, this is the basic, you can say, definition of homophones. That's correct, Hamna. Cell and cell. Very good. Right? And then we have confusing words as well. Some confusing words could be there in English language. Let me share it with you. And we use them sometimes incorrectly and sometimes correctly. Let's take a look at those. Now we need to avoid these words, these confusing words using when we are using them incorrectly because meaning would be problematic. Very good, Hamna. हमना ने एक और पेयर दिया हमें C and C. एक है दरिया और एक है देखना. Right? We need to be able to explain these words and contextualize them as well. Now look at the first pair that we have. Accept and accept. Meaning, A wale accept ka meaning hai favorable, where you accept something, when you warmly welcome something. It's a verb, which simply means they have accepted my invitation, they have accepted my apology, they need to accept my invitation, etc. यानी जहां पर उसे रिसीव कर लिया जाए और उस पे मान लिया जाए. दूसरा accept जो है, which starts with E, accept. It means not included. When you say that she's always here except today, यानी वो रोज यहाँ होती है लेकिन आज नहीं है, which means excluded. See, दोनों के sound different है, accept and accept. लेकिन उनका मीनिंग डिफरेंट है. So this is a pair of homophones. Is it clear? Then we have access and access, right? Access A से और access E से. Access is where you have access to something, where you can approach something. This is within A, where access to the website is denied. This is accessible to me because I am the chief in charge, right? Access का मतलब जो E से start होता है, that means that quantity is more than requirement, right? I sold the entire stock, so there is no excess left, right? Excessive use of mobile phones can lead to eye problems or eyesight problems. So this is another pair, access and access. Then we have advice and advice. This is the famous one, which most of you already know. इनमें spelling का difference है S और C का. Advice with the C is a noun, right? Which could be that I have taken a lot of advices from you and they have never worked for me, right? It simply means an opinion or viewpoint or perspective. However, advice with S is a verb, which means when you guide somebody to do something, when you recommend something to somebody to take a further action. For example, they advised me to study for the exam. They advised me to take 3 liters of water on daily basis as I have kidney problems. So this is the difference between advice and advice. Now this is a short quiz. Can you try and complete it? Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes और इसे complete करें. Patients seek dash, doctors dash them. We have had dash of snow this week. And then further. आप इसको complete कर सकते हैं? बताएं मुझे. If you can. जी कौन बताएगा? Patients seek dash, doctors dash them. इन दो dashes में क्या आएगा बेटा? अच्छा वर्ड्स आपने वही यूज करने हैं. अभी हमने 3 पेयर्स की बात की ना बेटा, उन्हीं 3 पेयर्स में से आपने इस्तेमाल करने हैं. नो अभी आपके साथ मैंने पेयर्स डिस्कस किए ना बेटा. देखो 3 पेयर्स डिस्कस हुए, ये उसी से साथ क्विज अटैच्ड है. फर्स्ट वी टॉक्ड अबाउट एक्सेप्ट, राइट? देन एक्सेस एंड एक्सेस, एंड देन एडवाइस एंड एडवाइस. अब इस क्विज में इन्हीं तीनों पेयर्स में से आपने यूज करना है. मैं ये पेयर्स यहाँ लिख देती हूँ, फिर देखें. अच्छा ये तीनों पेयर्स हैं, इनको यूज करें. जैसे फर्स्ट सेंटेंस है पेशेंट्स सीक डैश, डॉक्टर्स डैश देम. इसका आंसर बताएं. Wrong. Most of you are writing it wrong, beta. There is one person जिसने सही लिखा है. Let me identify them. Um, 012 बेटा आपका करेक्ट है. पहले आएगा एडवाइस, सी वाला, और फिर डॉक्टर एडवाइस देन वो आएगा एस वाला. ठीक है. Advice and advice. Yes, 72, you're correct as well. 59, that's incorrect, beta. पहले C वाला आएगा, फिर S वाला आएगा. Okay, what about the second one? We have had and dash of snow this week. We have had and dash of snow this week. यहाँ कौन सा word आएगा? ये बहुत बेसिक है. ये फर्स्ट पहली और दूसरी जमात के बच्चों को आता है. That's correct. 31 and 51. That's correct, बेटा. यहाँ आएगा access, which means abundance. That's incorrect. 001. Very incorrect, बेटा. फिर आगे देखें, थर्ड वन देखें. 59, that's correct. dash all of their terms and dash the last term. Dash all of their terms dash the last term. थर्ड वाले में क्या आएगा, कैसे आएगा पेयर? That's correct, 31. Accept, which is A wala accept all their terms, comma, except the last term. E वाला accept का मतलब है इसके अलावा, right? तो वो second वाले dash में आएगा. That's correct. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से आपको इनका यूसेज भी आना चाहिए इन वर्ड पेयर्स का करेक्टली, और इनको आइडेंटिफाई करना भी आना चाहिए. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. आगे हमारे पास है इफेक्ट एंड इफेक्ट, जो कि हम बहुत ज्यादा इनकरेक्टली यूज करते हैं. ए वाला इफेक्ट जो है वो इन्फ्लुएंस के लिए यूज होता है. ई वाला इफेक्ट जो है वो रिजल्ट्स को इंडिकेट करता है, यानी नेगेटिव रिजल्ट्स को इंडिकेट करता है. ए वाले इफेक्ट के एग्जांपल देखिए. Earthquake affected many people across the world. Junk food will affect your body. अब इफेक्ट यानी ई वाला इफेक्ट, इसकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन सेम है, ये आपने याद रखना है, लेकिन मैं इफेक्ट इसलिए कह रही हूँ ताकि आपको याद रहे. जहां ई आएगा वहां पर रिजल्ट या इन्फ्लुएंस ही शो होगा, लेकिन वो नेगेटिव होता है मोस्टली, एंड इट्स अ नाउन. ठीक है, ए वाला इफेक्ट वर्ब है, ई वाला इफेक्ट नाउन है. अच्छा, इसकी एग्जांपल देखिए. वन इफेक्ट ऑफ अर्थक्वेक is that many people lost their homes. Exercises of all kinds have positive effects on certain kinds of bodies, right? So ये effect है. Then we have believe and belief. ठीक है, अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि believe तो वी ई वाला है और उसमें साउंड तो व का आता है और belief में फ का आता है. That's correct, लेकिन ये confusing words हैं. ठीक है, इसलिए इनको इनका यूसेज आना फिर भी जरूरी है. होमोफोन्स बेशक नहीं है, लेकिन ये कंफ्यूजिंग वर्ड्स हैं. ठीक है, देखें. बिलीव मीन्स टू हैव फेथ इन समथिंग. ठीक है, वी ई वाला, विच मीन्स आई बिलीव इन यू, आई बिलीव दैट यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट. बिलीव का मतलब है हैव ट्रस्ट और हैव फेथ इन समवन, एंड दैट्स अ नाउन, राइट? जैसे हमारा बिलीफ सिस्टम है इन गॉड, वी बिलीव इन वन अल्लाह ओनली, राइट? I believe good things often take time. Then had complement and complement. Complement E wala jo hai, that is complete, that is perfect. And I wala jo hai, where you are trying to give some kind of a positive reinforcement, or you are trying to congratulate the next person. ठीक है, जो कि noun भी use हो सकता है और as a verb भी. अच्छा, ई वाले कॉम्प्लीमेंट का सेंटेंस देखें. Her dress perfectly complements the shade of her eyes. Choose beautiful piece of art to complement the theme. Okay, 33. Let me share this PowerPoint in your WhatsApp group then. पहले बताते, मैं साथ ही शेयर कर देती. Wait, please. ये ले. Second. किसके मीनिंग्स बेटा? 51. कॉम्प्लीमेंट और कॉम्प्लीमेंट के कैसे कैसे सेम है? कैन यू एक्सप्लेन? Okay, the PowerPoint has been sent in your WhatsApp group. You can open it there. देखिए, complement with E means complete, something that is complete. No, that is a correlational relationship. ठीक है, आपका point ठीक है. I got your point that you're saying that if something that is going to be perfectly completed, then it will be complemented by another thing, right? That's correct. लेकिन इनके मीनिंग में इस तरह से डिफरेंस है कि जो कॉम्प्लीमेंट ई के साथ है that's always going to be a noun. However, complement with I could be a verb as well. Look at the example. I complimented her. She's very intelligent. I complimented. अब यहाँ पर मैं उसे complete तो नहीं कर रही ना. यहाँ पर मैंने उनको कॉम्प्लीमेंट दिया है. इस तरह से इसमें डिफरेंस है. इसके और एग्जांपल्स जब आप देखेंगे तो ये और क्लियर आपके माइंड में होता चला जाएगा. प्लीज म्यूट योरसेल्फ जो भी है. शारिक, एक तो बेटा आप क्लासेस में आते नहीं है. ऑनलाइन क्लास में आप आके फिर इस तरह से डिस्टॉर्शन क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. प्लीज कीप योरसेल्फ म्यूटेड एट ऑल टाइम्स. वी आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड in listening to what you're doing at your end. I know you're not listening, but we don't need to know that, right? Okay. So we were talking about compliment, right? I wala compliment. I complicate. I compli. अगर मैं कहती हूँ कि I complimented a student for their best efforts, तो मैंने उन्हें complete तो नहीं किया ना. I'm not completing them. लेकिन अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि his homework was perfectly complimented, therefore I complimented her, तो ये दोनों differently use होंगे. Yes, their meaning is correlational, but ये differently use होंगे as a verb and as a noun. ठीक है. Now this is your um, a little quiz. Go ahead and try and do it. इस दफा quiz के साथ लिखा हुआ है Are you dashed by COVID? यहाँ क्या आएगा? Can you identify? Are you dashed by COVID? कौन सा इफेक्ट आएगा? वेरी गुड. पीपल विद अफेक्टेड जो ए यूज कर रहे हैं, दैट्स करेक्ट बेटा. देखिए यहाँ पे कोविड डिजीज नहीं लिखा हुआ. इट इज अ फिनोमेना. यहाँ पर कोविड इज अ फिनोमेना. ठीक है. फिनोमेना मतलब ऑल अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड कोविड ने क्या किया. तो जो करेक्ट है वो ए वाला है. ठीक है. अफेक्टेड, ए वाला. कि क्या उसने आपकी लाइफ पे कोई इफेक्ट डाला जेनेरिकली. लुक एट द सेकंड सेंटेंस. Quiz had a bad dash on my grade. यहाँ क्या आएगा? सेकंड वन में. That's correct. 51. सेकंड में आएगा इफेक्ट. आप इसको इफेक्ट से याद रखें. ऑल्दो इसकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन इफेक्ट ही है, लेकिन इफेक्ट से याद रखें जहां पर आपके ग्रेड में डेफिनेटली इफेक्ट है. कोविड में जो प्रॉब्लम्स आई उसने हमें इन्फ्लुएंस किया. यस, हमारी जिंदगी उथल पुथल हो गई. यस, लेकिन सब लोगों को नेगेटिव इफेक्ट नहीं हुए थे, राइट? लेकिन क्विज की अगर बात करें, क्विज हैड अ बैड इफेक्ट ऑन माय ग्रेड, तो वो ओवरऑल ग्रेड पे बैड इफेक्ट आ रहा है. लुक एट द थर्ड सेंटेंस. शी डैश इन विचेस एंड घोस्ट्स. यहाँ क्या आएगा? बिलीव्स. दैट्स करेक्ट. एफ वाला बिलीफ नहीं आएगा क्योंकि वो फेथ से रिलेटेड है. यहाँ पर होगा यकीन करना. दैट इज बिलीव्स. दैट्स करेक्ट. What about the last one? I must dash you on the new necklace. It goes with the eye color. Compliment. Eye wala compliment. That's correct. Very good. That's correct. ठीक है. तो इनके यूसेजेस आप और भी देख सकते हैं. एक शीट भी मैंने इसके साथ अपलोड कर दिया, तो आप उसको भी देख पाएंगे. ठीक है, उससे भी आप हेल्प ले सकते हैं. देन वी हैव कॉर्पोरेशन एंड कॉर्पोरेशन. ठीक है, दोनों की प्रोनाउंसिएशन सेम है, लेकिन देखें स्पेलिंग में डिफरेंस है. फर्स्ट वाला कॉर्पोरेशन देखें जिसमें को ऑपरेशन या डबल ओ है. ठीक है, the process of working together where there are two people, two organizations, they are working together and they are cooperating with each other. For example, I would like to extend my cooperation with this team so that the work can be done as quickly as possible. This group presentation needs your cooperation, right? We would like to ask you for your cooperation in the survey. However, corporation जो दूसरा है, it's a business organization and it's a noun. Both are noun, but corporation is a firm, a business firm. A corporation conducts its businesses like an artificial person. A computer software corporation is finding unique website designers. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से आप यूज करेंगे. Then we have farther and further. देखिए, farther and further को देखिए, समझ आ रही है आपको? Farther is from the word far, जिसका मतलब होता है दूर. ठीक है, और further is from the word next step, right? Now let's look at the farther. Now you must be thinking कि इनकी pronunciation तो different है, लेकिन properly जब इन्हें pronounce किया जाए तो ये एक ही तरह के sounds निकालते हैं. जैसे believe और belief में भी आपको ये लग रहा होगा, लेकिन इसी तरह के होते हैं वो sounds. हम उसको बिलीव प्रोनाउंस करते हैं, हम फार्दर कहते हैं और फर्दर कहते हैं. अदरवाइज इफ यू लिसन टू somebody who is a native speaker, you will see that there is a very tiny little difference that you will be able to say, although इसकी ट्रांसक्रिप्शन में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है. फार्दर को देखें, ओवर अ लार्ज एक्सपेंस ऑफ स्पेस और टाइम. It was not too farther. I am moving farther away from my parents' house so that I can you know, go to my work easily, right? I went no farther that day because it was too late. Further dekhiye, two men were standing at the further and end of the clearing. Cook for a further 10 minutes. Further, we will move forward to the next topic or the next pair of homophones. Okay. Then we have insure and ensure. I wala ensure dekhe, which means that security against some damage or problem. That is insurance as well. I hope you know the concept of insurance. इंश्योरेंस के कॉन्सेप्ट में सिंपली ये होता है कि आप अपनी हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, प्रॉपर्टी इंश्योरेंस करवा लेते हैं. कार इंश्योरेंसेस भी होते हैं जिसमें अगर आपकी कार को कोई डैमेज हो तो इंश्योरेंस जो है वो आपको उसके लिए उसको ठीक करवा देती है. इस वो एक पॉलिसी होती है, राइट? तो दैट इज आई वाला इंश्योरेंस, राइट? आई हैव इंश्योर्ड माय कार. हाउएवर इंश्योर जो ई वाला है, इट सिंपली मींस मेकिंग सर्टेन दैट समथिंग विल happen, it will take place no matter what, right? I will ensure that you come on Friday and give your quiz and look at your assignments as well. You must make you must ensure your presence in the Friday classes so that you know and you have feedback on your assignments and quizzes. Okay? So that is insurity. Then we have moral and morale. Okay? Moral देखे, इसकी भी प्रोनाउंसिएशन सेम होती है, लेकिन पाकिस्तान में हम इसे मोरल एंड मोरल पढ़ रहे होते हैं. अदरवाइज मोरल वर्ड नहीं होता, इट्स मोरल, राइट? सो मोरल की मीनिंग देखिए, विदाउट ई, holding or manifesting high principle for proper conduct, which is being able to distinguish between right and wrong, And this moral can be used as an adjective and a noun, right? His prides, he prides himself on being a highly moral and ethical person. Moral and morale, इसको आपने morale ही पढ़ना है. इसकी pronunciation मैं आपको native speaker से सुनाती हूँ, so that it's much clearer. Because मेरी तो आपको पता है पाकिस्तानी pronunciation ही है. Let me see. Yeah. अच्छा, अब अगर आप इसकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन ना भी देखें तो इनके वर्ड्स में भी सिर्फ ई का डिफरेंस है. बस आप इसी तरह से याद रखें, मोरल एंड मोरल. ठीक है. मॉरल क्या होता है? जिसमें हम राइट एंड रॉन्ग को आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं. वी हैव आवर मोरालिटी विद इट. ठीक है, जिसे उर्दू में आई थिंक इखलाकियात कहते हैं. और मोरल जो है ऑन द अदर हैंड, दैट इज द सेंस or the purpose with respect to some kind of a group. For example, the team's morale is high. The Pakistani cricket team's morals were very much high at that day. The failure of his play did not affect his morale, which means the sense of acceptance, the sense of respect, or sense of responsibility attached to a group. That is morale. ठीक है. Now इसका related quiz देखें और बताएं whether you can identify. Yes, that's correct, beta. 001. It's like कि आपका जो पर्पस है किसी चीज के साथ, किसी एक्टिविटी के साथ, वो किस तरह से रहता है. जैसे your morale for Friday classes are high and you're going to attend those classes. That is your morale. ठीक है. Okay, you can do this quiz at your own and we can have a discussion further when we are on campus. Then we have patient and patience. इनको भी हम incorrectly use करते हैं. इनमें clear difference है. Patient जो होता है वो of course एक इंसान है, और patience जो है वो एक feeling है. Patient is somebody who is suffering from some problem. For example, he is the patient of uh, diabetes, right? और patience जो है, I have patience. I have no patience for late submissions. So that is patient and patience. Then we have personal and personal, right? I have a personal life, so you should not bother me when it's not my work time. That is personal. And personnel is somebody who are employed with the same organization and you're part of that personnel. Mostly it is used in military, right? Military services में personnels होते हैं, जैसे ये जो DG होते हैं, colonels और journals होते हैं. वो जो lieutenants and lieutenants होते हैं, they are personnels, right? Many of the personnels involved required training. Then we have the quiz, which you can do at your own. Then we have the agenda. Now, आगे जो points हैं वो मैं आपके साथ जो है on campus करना चाहती हूँ, so that they are more clearer to you. Other than that, you need to remember this list. जैसे ये stationery और stationery है, ये list आप खुद पढ़ कर आएंगे Friday class में. और अगर आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चन होगा तो आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं, सो दैट यू आर वेरी मच क्लियर अबाउट दिस लिस्ट. जिस लिस्ट की मैं बात कर रही हूँ वो भी मैं आपको दिखा देती हूँ. गिव मी अ मिनट. हियर इज द लिस्ट. ये वो लिस्ट है जिसकी बेटा मैं बात कर रही हूँ. दिस इज अपलोडेड. यहाँ पर आप इसे पढ़ सकते हैं. इसमें और भी वर्ड्स हैं. आपको जो पेपर में अगर क्वेश्चन आएंगे तो वो यहीं से आएंगे, जो वर्ड्स आएंगे. अदरवाइज इससे आगे पीछे कोई नहीं आएंगे, जो पावर पॉइंट में है और जो यहाँ पर है. तो ये आप देख कर आए. और अगर आपके पास कोई कुछ बात समझ ना आ रही हो तो आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं ऑन कैंपस क्लास में. Now I'm giving you 5 minutes to go through all this information. If you would like, or if you would like me to explain something, then I can explain. Go ahead, take a look and ask me relevant questions. ओके, मैं भेजती हूँ, मैं आपके ग्रुप में इसको भेज देती हूँ, गिव मी अ मिनट। बेटा अगर कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं तो पूछें। और अगर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो आप लिख सकते हैं दैट एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर। यस, proceed and proceed. देखें, okay, 001 is asking about the difference between proceed and proceed. Now the difference between the two is of course based on the meaning. Of course proceed procedure से निकला है जहां पर आप आगे move forward करते हैं, और proceed जो है that is a little different, which simply means it's a verb. Proceed is a verb that has to do with some kind of a order. या तो पहले आएगा, to come before something in time or order, that is precision, that is proceed. ठीक है? For example, in the alphabet, और जो हमारे पास alphabets होते हैं A B C D, B precedes the letter C. हमारे पास जो letters हैं A B C D, right? उसमें B पहले आता है और C बाद में आता है, तो B is for proceeding, and proceed is you may proceed further for this procedure, or you can proceed further in the project because you are doing fine. So basically, proceed has to do with something that comes before something, and then proceed is to move forward. The only difference that you need to remember is that proceed is related to order of time or place. However, proceed is more of like, when you move on, you take an action. That is proceed. Okay, how they are homophones when they have different spellings and pronunciations. मैंने आपको बताया कि हमारी pronunciations जो हैं वो problematic हैं. We actually do not know about correct pronunciations. जैसे जो believe and belief है, हम जब पढ़ते हैं हम फ को actually pronounce करते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप किसी और को सुने तो नहीं करते. और ये सिर्फ homophones की categorizations नहीं है, ये confusing words भी हैं. मैंने आपको बताया ना, टॉपिक का नाम है कंफ्यूजिंग वर्ड्स, इट्स नॉट homophones only, right? So sometimes we accidentally or mistakenly use them interchangeably. That is incorrect. इसलिए क्योंकि हम सेकंड लैंग्वेज लर्नर्स हैं और हम ये मिस्टेक्स करते हैं, इसलिए हमने उसको क्लैरिफाई रखना है अपने माइंड में. Okay, rest is clear. What about the rest of you? Any questions? Beta, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. अच्छा बेटा, कोई सवाल है तो पूछें। एनी क्वेश्चन प्लीज गो अहेड एंड आस्क। अच्छा, एक अनाउंसमेंट है, इसको क्लियरली अपने माइंड में बिठा लें so that you do not miss this chance, because this is a golden chance. Look at your screens. I'm sending it in your group as well. Second. Okay. You will have two classes on Friday, 3rd November, 2:30 to 5:30. This is mandatory. You must come. Quiz will be conducted. If by any chance you can't come or you're not there, तो मेरे पास आपके 2 क्विजेस के मार्क्स हैं, वही फाइनलाइज हो जाएंगे और आपको पता है आपके स्कोर्स कैसे हैं, राइट? एंड ऑफ कोर्स आई विल बी गिविंग यू असाइनमेंट्स पे आपको फीडबैक दूंगी, तो अगर आपने वो फीडबैक लेना है तो आपने आना ही आना है। बेटा क्विज में इंक्लूडेड होगा, लेट मी चेक अगेन, मैंने कहीं पोस्ट किया होगा, आई डोंट वांट टू टेल यू इनकरेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन, मैं आपको वहां से कंफर्म करके बताती हूँ, वेट प्लीज। क्विज टू ठीक है। 31 एंड 19 बेटा मत लें, बिकॉज आई सी दैट मंडेज को तो आप 5:30 तक आ जाते हैं, यू आर देयर। ओके, दीज आर वैलिड, दैट्स ऑल राइट बेटा, दैट्स ऑल राइट, दैट्स ऑल राइट। फिर आप नहीं आए, कोई कंपल्शन नहीं है, बट आई नीड टू टेक दीज क्लासेस एंड अदर देन दिस टाइम यू डोंट हैव एनी अवेलेबल स्लॉट, ठीक है? व्हाट इफ अगर आपका कल एग्जाम होता तब तो आप आते ना, कि नहीं आते? तो मैं अब आप मुझे बताएं, हाउ डू आई हेल्प यू? व्हाट अबाउट टुमारो? ठीक है, मैं आपका दोबारा टाइम देख के बताती हूँ। अगर आप ये क्लासेस नहीं लेंगे, मेकअप क्लासेस नहीं लेंगे, तो आप ही का नुकसान है, मैं मेरा तो कोई नुकसान नहीं। गिव मी अ मिनट, लेट मी सी द टाइम टेबल है ये। देखिए, थर्सडे को भी तो आप 2:30 से 5:30 ही अवेलेबल हो ना, उसके अलावा तो आप बिल्कुल अवेलेबल नहीं है। और अभी किसी ने लिखा है कि आपको 4:30 तक ऑलरेडी कोई क्लास है, which means you're not available. So I need to take these two classes on Friday. I can give you one relief that your attendance will not be hampered by it. ठीक है, आपकी अटेंडेंस को कोई मसला नहीं होगा, वो मैं आपको अकोमोडेट कर दूंगी किसी तरह से। लेकिन other than that we need to have this class. वेंसडे को अगर आप कह रहे हैं, वेंसडे को देखें, वेंसडे को तो ऑलरेडी मैं आपके साथ 2 क्लासें लेती हूँ ना, तो 4 क्लासें आप कैसे लेंगे? या तो आप पागल हो जाएंगे या मैं पागल हो जाऊंगी। यस, व्हाई नॉट, आई कैन लेट यू गो। ऑफ कोर्स मैं आपको डायरेक्ट 3 घंटे तो नहीं पढ़ाने वाली ना, कुछ ना कुछ आपको रिलीफ दिया जाएगा, व्हाई नॉट। अच्छा, आई एम गोइंग टू मेक अ पोल इन योर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, ठीक है? तो उस पे देखें। अच्छा, आप बाकियों की मेकअप क्लासेस लेने को तैयार है 51, मेरी नहीं लेनी आपने, राइट? फ्राइडे इज द ओनली ऑप्शन दैट आई हैव बेटा, अदरवाइज वरना कल था और कल भी आपकी कहीं और क्लास है, और कल मेरी खुद भी होती है 4 बजे तक क्लासें वहीं बहरिया में। आई कांट टेक एनी अदर डे। आपको ये लेनी तो पड़ेगी. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी पार्ट ऑफ योर जर्नी नाउ. यू कैन नॉट अवॉइड इट. अगर आप मुझे अवॉइड कर भी ले, बाकी केसेस में तो होगा, तो इसको अभी से लेना शुरू करें. वेल आई एम कमिंग ऑन फ्राइडे. आई डोंट हैव अ चॉइस. तो मैं तो आऊंगी. तो आप नहीं आ सकते तो बेटा आपकी चॉइस है, कोई मसला नहीं. बेटा नेक्स्ट वीक आप कहेंगे कि उससे नेक्स्ट वीक आपका एग्जाम है इसलिए आपने नहीं आना. You will always have excuses. A class who has excuses, they will always have excuses. So वो तो एक common trait होती है क्लास की. चले. I'll be available on campus on Friday. आपकी चॉइस है बेटा. ठीक है. Attendance would not be an issue. रही बात क्विज की, ठीक है, जो फ्राइडे को नहीं आ सकता, वेंसडे को उनका एक ओरल क्विज हो जाएगा, रिटन टेस्ट नहीं होगा फिर. ठीक है. दैट विल बी एन ओरल क्विज. Okay, now I'll be taking your attendance. Stay connected, please. बेटा क्विज का जो सिलेबस है वो क्लास में डिस्कस हुआ होगा ना पिछली. अच्छा, आपके टॉपिक्स अगर आप लोगों को नहीं पता या मैंने अगर अनाउंस नहीं किए तो मैं अनाउंस कर देती हूँ. हम ना व्हाट वर द टॉपिक्स, कुड यू प्लीज टेल देम. बताएं. अदरवाइज मैं तो आज के भी ऐड कर सकती हूँ, मुझे कोई मसला नहीं. व्हाट वर द टॉपिक्स दैट आई सेड. phrases, clauses, subject, predicate, और चलें ऐसा करें, आप कर लें इसमें पब्लिक स्पीकिंग भी ऐड कर लें. ठीक हो गया. जो आज हमने डिस्कस किया ना पब्लिक स्पीकिंग पे, उसको ऐड कर लें. वो बहुत जेनेरिक है, उसकी भी आपकी तैयारी हो जाएगी फिर. मैं ये लिख देती हूँ आपके चैट बॉक्स में. क्या कह रही हूँ, आपका ये जो होता है ग्रुप जो है. 1 सेकेंड. और बेटा परेशान होने वाली बात नहीं है, आपने परेशान नहीं होना। अगर आपको एक एक्स्ट्रा दिन आना पड़ रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं, कोई ऐसा दिन भी होगा जिस दिन नहीं आना पड़ेगा, खुशी के दिन भी आएंगे, डोंट यू वरी, राइट? ठीक है, ओके जी, दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे। आई विल स्टे कनेक्टेड फॉर अनदर 10 minutes, बट इफ यू वांट टू लीव यू कैन लीव। सी यू ऑन वेडनेसडे, टेक केयर, अल्लाह हाफिज। Sorry, see you on Friday. I forgot. See you on Friday. Allah Hafiz.